Check. There we are. Hey, Joel. Hey there, Joel. Hey there, everybody else.
I am very charismatic, as I've been told.
When Nathan gets nervous, he turns into a robot.
Yes. Thank you for phasing down the lo-fi beats to chill and study to.
Lo-fi beats to chill and podcast to. That's what we're actually doing here.
Hello, everyone. If you're not here to watch a podcast, you're about to be disappointed. I'm very sorry if you are not involved in this. I have nothing.
Are you recording?
Are we good?
That would be so rude if you weren't recording.
We are now recording.
Nice.
Do we need to record this liply? I guess we can get it on.
He's recording everything. So
all right.
He's getting all that.
So.
But we are live and Facebook.
Lovely. Well, cool.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Justin.
This is Chapel Bell Curve, nominally.
If this is your first time listening to Chapel Bell Curve, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's weird that you're here and listening to it now. But it's exciting to be here. This is our second time doing this thing. And the first time was way worse than this one.
Yes.
Because
we've already surpassed expectations.
We've done it. We're doing great. We're already on a roll.
We're looking to turn in a C- performance here. Just get out of here with the credit.
Well, the problem is that we didn't get anything bad out of the way ahead of time, so
it's about to start.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
The internet's gonna go out, or I'm gonna forget how to read.
You know how to read?
I do, in fact.
So today we're going to be doing a brief review of the Georgia Tech game because I have a lot of rage because of the reffing, mainly. And then we're going to preview the SEC Championship. And then Justin is going to ask me some potentially culturally insensitive questions about
I Googled
Cajun
enough.
people.
I knew that it wasn't.
And then we're going to have an appearance. We're going to have some listener questions. And then we're going to have an appearance from Yara, our social media intern and token Gen Z presence. Keeping us relevant.
Everyone needs one.
Yeah. Just for the nihilism, if nothing else. So.
Without further ado.
Yeah, let's get into it. Are we live?
We
Oh,
are.
Great.
Hey. What's up, anyone on the internet?
We are. We're also live streaming here. We're here with all of you. I thought that it'd be fun to do just to kick us off with a real, a throwback intro.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'll do it for us. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, what's my name? Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome to Chapel Bell Curve, stats-focused podcast about UGA football. I'm Justin.
And I'm Nathan.
And today, as we've told you before, we're going to be talking all about the Georgia Tech game that was, the LSU game that is soon to be, and everything in between. But before we get into anything too wild, I want to hear a little bit about, as we said, the GT review. How much of this do you actually still think about, Nathan? Do you want to kind of go back to the old adage of we don't really think about you, or was this a game that you will be thinking about for some time to come?
No, I mean I think Georgia Tech is just sort of football irrelevant, I would say, probably. I mean, they're very educationally relevant, but in terms of football, they don't really matter. I will say, the biggest takeaway yesterday was I felt like it continues a sort of a trend of, I think after 12 games, you kind of know who you are as a football team. And at this point, this Georgia team might be the best team in the nation, but they are, I think, in some ways inherently flawed. And those flaws showed up yesterday, right? And I don't think there are no college football teams at this point in the year that are not flawed. But I do think that the Georgia Tech game was a reminder that there isn't really a totally unbeatable team this year in college football. Georgia Tech obviously was playing hard for an interim coach, and they like him, I guess. But I really think my takeaway is less about them and more about what it really says about who Georgia is as a team. I think yesterday was a really good example of something that anyone out there can understand and think about to be a better football fan, which is that you should basically ignore any team's first offensive drive, because the first offensive drive of any football game is play scripted and has been thought of like down to every single variable play. And Georgia Tech came out in the first drive and went 11 plays, 75 yards and a touchdown, and averaged like 5.5 yards a drive. And for the rest of the half, they had 26 plays for 122 yards and no points on 4 other drives. Right, so I'm not really concerned about Georgia Tech. I find the making fun of Georgia Tech as a nerd school to be kind of reductive. Like, I don't think they're bad because they're nerds, because I think nerdiness and enthusiasm is something that we should all accept. I think they're bad because they are inferior humans who deserve my scorn. It's not that their nerdiness. Like, I also like,
That's a
also like
coincidence.
Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Right, and I think engineering is important to the future of America, but I also think that they should feel bad. I think they're morally and ethically flawed people, which is totally separate from their nerdiness, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of notes that I had from yesterday, I mean, look, I understand, like, as a straight white guy who lives in the South, yelling about refs is kind of like my birthright. It's like what I was born to do. It was what I was put on this planet to do. But I will say I thought that the hashtag ACC refs thing was pretty bad yesterday. There was like an aiding the runner call, which I looked up, and so far as I can tell, it's only been called like 3 times since 2005 during the Bush year, which is bad. And I wasn't, I'm not like a conspiracy theorist guy. I don't think there's like some grand conspiracy against Georgia. I just don't like incompetence. And it's like, if I'm bad as an English teacher, then the state comes and takes over my school. But these idiots were just out there in front of God and everybody, reffing like they were good at it. And it's like, where's the performance review for these dum-dums?
How are you going to get off on your competence kink if there's all this incompetency?
Competence is what I need.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
care.
all it is.
Yeah, conspiracies.
Not asking about a lot.
Believing in conspiracies is for suckers because they require multiple people to tell the same lie, which people are horrible at lying and always betray their secrets. But I do believe that people are just bad at their jobs.
That's the real conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. Other notes I have from the Georgia Tech game. I would really like to get off of Kirby Smart's wild ride vis-a-vis red zone play calling. I think at this point, this has been a very successful offense between the 20s, and most of our numbers, including CBCR2, have UGA as having the second or third best offense in the nation this year. But inside of those goal-to-go situations in particular, UGA has been a lot less efficient and has had very little success in power runs. Per our advanced box scores from yesterday, UGA had vamping for time, so I can scroll to the right place. All right, there we go.
This is usually edited out.
Yeah, usually we can take this out. So UGA had 2 successful power runs on 3 tries, which is not that bad, but 37% of UGA's runs were stopped, which is for less than 2 yards, and most of those stopped and stuffed runs were inside of the 20. I think Kirby Smart is like fundamentally like a lowercase c conservative coach. Like, he wants to maximize his potential of winning while minimizing the potential for mistakes, and so it makes sense to run the ball inside of the 5. But we're just not good at it at this point, and I would really like for this ride to stop because it's not good for my blood pressure and mental health.
Yeah.
So if we could just throw on first down inside of the 20.
If we could stop
A little
min-maxing
bit more
football.
Yeah. I already got this SSRI prescription, and I would really like to not have to up it anymore.
Here at the end of the season.
Yeah, citalopram 10 milligram is really treating me right now, and I don't want to be pushed up to 20 because Kirby Smart doesn't know how to call anything other than the inside zone.
Yeah. So talking about other things we need to fix, Mr. Keely Ringo, where art thou, Keely Ringo?
Yeah, you have a note here. It's like Mr. Keely versus Dr. Ringo.
That's basically what we got yesterday.
Yeah,
you don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah,
yesterday it was Mr. Keely.
Keely Ringo was targeted 9 times and had 3 receptions for 47 yards against him, but he did also commit 2 really bad penalties, one of which was a not unsportsmanlike conduct, but some kind of personal foul for 15 yards.
Probably giving him the business.
Giving him the business, yeah. So my observation about Keely Ringo is that he is Well, I feel bad about saying this in public because he definitely whipped my ass. And so, like, now I'm starting to realize if I criticize this athlete who is in way better shape than me and he could theoretically hear this,
But he's
that's,
not
like,
here.
dangerous.
I'm
Yeah,
looking around the room.
Yeah,
he's
but
not here. You're good.
He's very fast, and so I'm just a little worried about what I'm going to say.
Uh-huh.
No, Keely Ringo is, I mean, he's probably going to be the first or second picked player from Georgia's team to the NFL this year, or next year if he goes. And he is like the prototypical cornerback, but he doesn't have very good ball skills when the ball's in the air. And he just got kind of torched a couple of times on long routes down the seam. That is concerning because there is a certain amount of like just explosive offense that you can expect in the college football playoff. And LSU, despite losing to Jimbo Fisher and his $90 million Baptist Bible study yesterday, is pretty good down the field. So I think he's the guy that's going to get targeted, even though he is our like nominally best corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something to be concerned about going forward. I'm also kind of concerned. Hold on, I have to burp. I don't want to burp and cover it up. Give me a second.
This
All
is
right.
also vamping for time.
Yeah.
He's really just thinking and processing.
No, I know what to
He
say
really
about Stetson
burped.
Bennett. Yeah, there was a burp there. All right. So, you know, there's two Stetson Bennett's. There's like built Ford Tough F-150 Raptor edition Stetson Bennett, and then there's like Ford Ranger Stetson Bennett. You know, and we need to get good Stetson Bennett. I don't know which one of those is good. We need like built Ford Tough Stetson Bennett. We don't need whatever that was. Sometimes he's just comes out and gets a little too excited and just throws the ball all over the place, but not to the right person or place.
I do enjoy it. You might not notice this, but there are times when during the broadcast they go over to him and something weird happens. He's never like, "Oh, dang." He's always like, "Oh, that was weird."
Yeah.
He just kind of shrugs like, "Ah."
Bad Stetson Bennett has the same facial expression that like George W. Bush did when he like admitted to committing war crimes, where he's like, "Oh, but I'd be fun to have
That's
a beer
wild.
with." You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, man.
You'd
like,
be surprised by the things I can't say.
Yeah, exactly. I would really like. I would just really like for him to be a little more consistent. I mean, like anything we complain about at this point as the number one overall team is just sort of silliness. Thanks, Dad. Carry on.
It's true. No, it's just like, you can be overwhelmed, you can be underwhelmed, as the saying goes, but we just want to be whelmed, Stetson. Just go back to being Stetson.
I would like to be whelmed by Stetson Bennett.
Please
yes.
whelm me. That's all we really want.
And in a like totally platonic way. You taught me to stand up. I know you know how to stand up. All right, carrying on. The last observation I have is, there's a certain amount of like talk online about how like, oh well, Georgia's just like saving its plays and we haven't gone deep into the playbook and we've been playing vanilla
It's
the
a
last few
common
games.
narrative, yes.
Yeah, it is a common narrative.
It's a narrative even on this show.
Yeah, and it's a common narrative, I think, because it's true.
It's true.
I mean, you have certainly seen post-Tennessee game a reduction in the depth of the playbook offensively. And I think I would like to call this like Chekhov's gun offense, where it's like, Chekhov's gun is this narrative conceit by Anton Chekhov that was in the 1800s at like the beginning of the modern, and it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's this idea that like if
Take
you
him
put
to school.
Yeah, if you put a gun on the mantle in the first act, the gun has to go off by the end of the play. And so I think this offense is sort of in a Chekhov's gun position because like it is true that our offensive game plan over the past three or four games has been incredibly reductive in the sense that we basically have just been running like 4 verts variations, flood variations, and then inside zone, outside zone, and counter. We've been running like 6 plays for the last 3 games and winning, admittedly. But that has to pay off when it matters, right? And so like going forward, like the biggest thing I'm really looking for going into the SEC championship and then further on, whatever happens after that, is do we actually open the offense up and to what extent do we, right? One of the fundamental philosophical shifts inside of football, I think, over the past like 10 years has been this idea that the better your defense is, that doesn't mean that you should be more conservative on offense. It means you should be less conservative. Because if you have a better defense, you can take more risks on offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we hold that axiom to be true in the modern era, which I do, because I think you're going to have to, score 35 points a game to win the next 3 games, then I think we need to see a little bit more creativity out of Kirby Smart at all. I say Kirby Smart even though he's not the offensive coordinator because I think it's very clear that based on Todd Monken's tree and his sort of like body of results, he would like to throw the ball a lot and like target the deep game a lot more, but we haven't been. So going forward, like that's really my number one concern is, are we going to open the offense up, and do we have any more variability in terms of what we run, particularly inside of the 20? Those are sort of your money plays in your playbook. This is really out of pocket that if I haven't muted my phone. Hold on. All right. Oh God. So yeah. Do you want to take us around the league?
I would love to take us around the league. Yeah, we'll get more into, we'll reference a lot of these Georgia Tech things going into the SEC Championship preview, which we're about to get into in just a moment. But other things that sort of matter that happen around the league, first and foremost, really doesn't matter to anybody other than us in this podcast, is FSU beat Florida, and that was pretty fantastic.
It was good.
I really enjoyed that.
It was good, yeah. Florida is another academically relevant institution that their athletics program should be sewed under like Carthage. Like, I hope that Gainesville is an archaeological oddity in 500 years because I don't want their athletic department to exist.
There is this picture that I want everybody to, at some point to go look at that has Mike Norvell, the head coach of FSU. They have this tradition after every game. They have a rock that is like painted with all sorts of like it's very similar to the Sousa show, the pregame Sousa show, where you have, it's your funeral dirge and everything, but theirs is they have this rock with all of the painting of the team and different things about that team on this rock, and then if they win, someone gets to sledgehammer break the rock. And so there's this picture that it looks like it could have been painted in the Renaissance era, but it's just a picture of the team and all of their faces as Mike Norvell was the one chosen to break the Florida rock. And it is absolutely gorgeous, and it is a sight to behold. It belongs in a museum, a fresco painting of our modern day.
One of the few things that does belong in a museum. All right, Michigan versus Ohio State. I like that in our notes you wrote Michigan versus Ohio, which would really piss off everyone at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
Which brings joy to my heart. Michigan manhandles Ohio State yesterday. I don't even know what the final score was. That doesn't really matter. What matters is that it does put Ohio State's chances to get into the playoff in doubt because
Much
they lost
lower.
big, right? If they lost close, you would say that maybe they could sneak in. I don't think Ohio State is in any way out of the playoff because of their incredibly masturbatory self-aggrandizement and like their brand, which is just sort of like personified presumption, But it does really decrease their chances. I would really like the Ohio State University to go to the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
That would make me happy.
Yeah, Ohio State's truly like the Clemson of the Big Ten is how I feel about them.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
if you replaced hypocritical Southern Baptist Convention theology with just general academic snobbery.
And finally, another team that we need to look at is LSU. What does LSU need to fix? Because they had quite the game yesterday. Do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, I mean, LSU lost to Texas A&M, which is embarrassing because Texas A&M is a cult. And I know that I say a lot of out-of-pocket things that make you think, does this guy not want to ever run for elected office? And I don't. But they are a cult. If you look up anything about them, they wear, overalls and scream weird chants. And their cheerleaders are men that dress up like milkman. I'm not joking.
Huh.
Look up Texas A&M y'all leaders. They look like milkmen. That's not.
That's neither
I
here
don't
nor
need to
there.
lie. That's just what it is. So LSU loses to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
This is kind of egregious on LSU's part for a couple of reasons. One, they lost to Texas A&M in a game where Texas A&M scored 38 points, which is embarrassing because Texas A&M scored 10 points against Appalachian State and has sort of a notoriously constipated offense right now because Jimbo Fisher is fully up his own ass.
I think they were, before yesterday, they were one of the only teams in the SEC that hadn't scored 20 points or
Yes.
25 points.
They hadn't scored more than 20 points against a Power 5 team in 2 years. And
Yeah.
last year, yesterday LSU gave up 38 points to them, which kind of points to the defense. There were a lot of things that went wrong for LSU yesterday, including some really poorly timed turnovers. But I think any time that you give up 38 points to Jimbo Fisher's weird 2010 dream of what an NFL offense should be, that's concerning if you're an LSU fan.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a review from this past weekend. Lots of good things to look at and go over into the preview. Before I get into the preview, Nathan, is there anything you want to leave in the past here before we cross over into the future?
The way you phrased that, it sounded like you're asking me if there's anything on my spirit.
Yeah,
I
just
can
let
come
it
up
go.
to the altar.
You can come on up,
and let unburden
We're altar
my
calling
spirit.
here at Authentic Brewery.
I don't really have anything to say about the Georgia Tech game. Oh, the band was there, and we had a joint halftime show. That was cool. Timothy Miller sung "God Bless America," and he cried. He was like the opera guy, the opera tenor from the Atlanta Opera. No, but he cried in like a really like picturesque way. He had like a single tear going down his like beautiful sculpted cheek as he sang "God Bless America" in front of 90,000 people. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
That was just fear, actually. I was not overcome by emotion.
He looked
I would
like
also
he was
cry in
sad.
front of
He
90,000
looked like
people.
he was sad.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, so one thing I was supposed to do at the very beginning of this, and I did not, was to say thank you to Authentic Brewery. And I'm embarrassed to say that I forgot to do that earlier, but thank y'all for letting us be here. You are listening to this later. If you're listening to this later, you're noticing that it sounds a little bit different. We're not sitting at our desk, so you don't hear all of the lovely sounds of our keyboard or our snorking or either of us breathing into the microphone.
It sounds appreciably better, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's 9,000 people here, and it's lovely. But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for tuning in later. Thanks to Authentic Brewery for having us. Let's get into the preview for this coming weekend. We're finally here, the SEC Championship game, and it's very exciting to be here. I thought that, as we do in every episode, as we go into our qualitative sort of overview, we would talk about LSU and the history of this matchup with the Winsipedia, and then I'm going to get us into the spirit with a little game. But do you want to walk us down through the Winsipedia, just a quick overview for us?
Yeah, so LSU and Georgia are LSU is 18, 13, and 1 against Georgia. They've won 5 more times. The current streak is LSU 2. They won in 2018 and 19, the last 2 times these teams played. One of them was a regular season matchup, I believe, in 2018 in LSU. It was 36-16 LSU victory. And the next one was the Joe Burrow year, where Joe Burrow just absolutely sliced and diced UGA's defense.
He's good.
In 2019. He is good.
Real good.
I would say, interestingly enough, LSU is in front of UGA in national championships and conference championships, but my perception of these teams is that LSU is sort of like either perennially successful or perennially like can we curse here? Are there any children here? Hold on. No. All right. Or perennially like a massive clusterfuck. Oh, is there a child?
No, I was pointing at your sousaphones.
No, they're fine. There are sousaphones here, but me saying fuck in front of them is sort of par for the course.
We'll keep a PG-13. You've got your 2, you get 3, I think. I think that's how it works.
Okay, I got 2 out.
I don't actually know.
Okay, good. I got you. So they're either a CF or they are winning national titles. They've won 4 national titles, which puts them 16th nationally. They are 15th in overall win percentages, 0.654. They have, let's see, where are they in total wins? They're 12th overall in total wins, 832. UJ is 11th. We passed them, I think, a couple of years ago. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like LSU. They're like the SEC team that I appreciate. They have a really good band. I know their band director. I know some of their band staff. Their band is really fun, and there's not a lot of woodwinds in it, which I appreciate sort of aesthetically. And yeah, like the deep tradition of like Cajun political corruption in Louisiana makes me happy. Like LSU has a good band because of political corruption. I don't know if you guys know this. Like the Kingfisher. You guys like Harvey? What was the last name? Not Weinstein. Huey Long.
Different guy.
Yeah, sorry. Huey Long was this like politician they wrote the Kingfisher about him. Huey Long was this politician in LSU who he was in Louisiana, but he loved LSU so much that he wanted to build a new addition to Tiger Stadium, and he couldn't do it with the federal funds that were coming in, so he turned the bottom of Tiger Stadium into like basically dorms for like 15 people, so he could spend another like $50,000 on Tiger Stadium.
Nuts.
Also, that is why the LSU's band until like I think 2015 had fully funded scholarships for their full band because of like some like really dirty like political appointments that had gone through in like the 40s. So LSU's band has been good forever because they've always been like covered in, well, not always. For a long time, they were covered in pretty dirty political money. LSU's band is also the reason the Redcoats are good. In 1910, LSU came to UGA and really embarrassed UGA's band, and that was when we started putting enough money into it for it to actually be good.
Oh, now we know.
Some history.
Thank you. So I'm going to take you down a different kind of historical rabbit hole. I want to talk a little bit about, I want to bring us all back to the year 2021. Last year. It's around this time, December 14th, 2021, LSU announced that they had a new coach. It was Brian Kelly, who is now the head coach of LSU. The most Northern Irish Catholic suburban dad-looking coach of a man debuted his newly found Southern accent on that day after becoming a new LSU coach. That is inspiring this game that we're about to play, Nathan. This game is called, is that Cajun? And what we're going to do is I'm going to
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's fine.
it's going to be a little bit the way it works is going to be sort of Are You My Mother? I'm going to ask you a question in reference to a person, place, or custom or culture and ask you the titular question, is that Cajun? Is how this game is going to work because Brian Kelly, for sure, did not play this game before he went to Louisiana. Those of you that might not be aware, there was a basketball game that I'm referencing that he kind of came out and announced that it was like his first debut as the coach, and he had this absurd Southern accent. Brian Kelly is from
it was like
was it Massachusetts
Yeah.
or Maryland?
it was like a facsimile of a Southern accent in a movie that didn't do any research about the South. Like he just pulled it right off the dome. It was like one of the best things to happen last year, I think.
It was pretty fantastic. It was up there for me. Like Evergreen was pretty awesome in the Suez Canal. The Four Seasons press conference, that was pretty awesome. And then Brian Kelly.
Yeah, there's the three good things about 2021.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. So we know that here at Chapel Bell Curve, we're going to come correct, which we have found is not particularly important to Brian Kelly. So before I go into all of this, I'm going to give you a quick definition of what Cajun refers to. It is a member of any of the largely self-contained communities in the bayou areas of southern Louisiana, formed by descendants of French Canadians. They, speaking an archaic form of French, was typically how they referred to.
Acadians, yeah.
Acadian French, yes. In the 70s, they were recognized officially by the state of Louisiana, and they are featured predominantly on their flag. You might also hear people saying something like Cajun or Creole. If you have not been in a high school history classroom like I have for a long time, I'll explain the difference. Creole refers to those born in Louisiana during the time of French and Spanish periods, regardless of their ethnicity, whereas Cajun is a little bit different. It's folks that were already there kind of thing, and descendants of the French. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this game. I'm going to give you a couple different categories. I have 3 categories for you. They are language, foods, and people.
Okay. Yeah, no,
You
I'm
ready? You good? You
Yeah,
got a
no, I'm
question?
fine.
You
Yeah,
good?
let's do
okay.
it.
So the first category, language. I'm going to ask you a question. Adding things like allons or mon chéri to your language, is that Cajun, Nathan?
I mean, it's French, right?
It's French. That's correct, yes.
I'm going to say, yes, it is Cajun.
That's correct. You're on a roll already. Look at you, coming out the gate strong. Number 2, adding y'all to your common vernacular and everyday language. Is that Cajun?
No, it's too white trash.
It's
Absolutely
too,
not.
too Southern. I say y'all. It is too Southern. That's correct. It is not Cajun. Brian Kelly added y'all to his vernacular when he got to Louisiana. It was not correct. Referring to a small, naturally occurring water feature as the crick or the holler. Is that Cajun, Nathan?
No, that's Appalachian.
That's correct. That is Appalachian. Ding, 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 ding. You are doing it. You're my man.
White
You're a Southern
trash.
man.
Yes.
Sorry.
Finally, paying off.
There it is. We're digging into foods now. My very first food for you is a food called cassoulet. Do you know what cassoulet is?
No.
This is a hearty, slow-simmered stew of sausage, confit, which is typically duck, pork, and white beans. Where is cassoulet from? Is it Cajun?
I'm going to say it's French. That doesn't sound like poor enough people food to be Cajun.
Okay. That's correct. It is from southwestern
God,
France,
I'm so
and it's
good at
delicious. I make a campfire cassoulet.
God.
It is outstanding. Question 2. Low country boil. You know, big pot, potatoes, sausage, crawfish, corn all poured out onto whatever surface you can find. Is that Cajun? And before you say yes or no, I will say a lot of Cajun foods are really meaty, they're smoky, they're one pots. So take that as you will.
I think low country boil probably is closely related to like clam bakes and stuff, right?
Okay, where are clam bakes from then, Smarty?
Like Rhode Island?
Maybe. I don't know. That's not in here. But is
So
low
I'm
country
gonna-
boil?
I'm going to say no,
Cajun?
it is not Cajun.
It's not. It's from Charleston. Look
God,
at
I'm
you.
so
They
good.
do eat a lot of low country boil, though. I will say the crawfish was a Cajun thing, but it was originally like shrimp and that kind of stuff. The last one is gumbo. Is this a trick question or not? Gumbo, for those of you that are not aware, gumbo consists primarily of a strongly flavored stock, meat or shellfish, a thickener, and I will not read the rest because it gives away the answer. Is that Cajun?
Is this like a Cajun versus Creole thing? Because like gumbo filet is
Maybe.
okra powder that you put in gumbo. And okra is in it. I'm going to say no, it is not.
No, it is not.
Yes.
It is Creole, in fact. That's correct, yeah.
God.
But it is now
So
the Louisiana official dish, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, gumbo has what is called the Creole Holy Trinity, which those of you that
Are too white to know.
celery, bell peppers, and onion. Whereas normally you use the mirepoix, which is a French thing as well, which would make that Cajun, because that's Cajun. But that would be carrots, celery, and onions. The last category, Nathan, is people.
Oh, God. Okay.
Slick-witted and sick with a bow staff. This kinetic energy manipulating card shark is one of my personal favorites of all time. Is Gambit from the X-Men Cajun?
Oh, okay, hold on. He's definitely from New Orleans, and he's from the fridge. I'm going to say he's Cajun.
He is indeed Cajun.
Yeah.
He is Cajun AF.
He's from the French Quarter.
He's from the French Quarter, yep. This famous rom-com star that would never dare to be caught without her spoon is Reese Witherspoon Cajun, Nathan.
Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah. Where's she from? What's she
Did
about?
you just say she wouldn't be dare to be caught
Without her spoon, yeah. She's
God,
Reese
you're
with her spoon.
such a dad sometimes. I'm going to say, I think she's from like Tennessee or Alabama, so no, I don't think so.
She is from Louisiana. She is indeed Cajun.
Okay.
We all learned something here today. The famous old man baby, Benjamin Button himself, is he Cajun? Where's he from, Nathan?
Like the character,
Yeah.
Benjamin Button?
Benjamin Button.
Is there a book of that movie?
No, there's just a movie. I don't know, would that change it?
No, I don't know where this is coming from.
I just Googled a bunch.
Yes, he is?
He is, yeah, that's great. Great job.
Good.
What about the host of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Mayor of
Guy-
Flavortown, Guy Fieri?
Guy
Is he
Fieri.
Cajun?
No, well, he's not from Earth, so I'm going to say no, he's not Cajun.
Where do you think he's actually from? Because I think that's also an interesting question.
I think Guy Fieri, spawned out of a swamp in southern New Jersey.
Oh,
Like, he walked out of the Pine Barrens fully dressed with the hairdo.
yeah, that's correct.
Have
yeah.
you ever seen Guy Fieri with his natural hair color?
No, and I do not want to.
He looks like the before picture in a rehab, like a
Aw.
before and after rehab thing.
Why you gotta do Guy Fieri like that?
No, I love him. He's a great guy. He needs to keep his hair the way it is.
Yeah. Keep your frosted tips. No, he's from Columbus, Ohio.
Of frickin' course he is.
The center of the universe, Columbus, Ohio.
The Guy Fieri, the Ohio State University,
The current,
the mayor of Flavortown.
the single active FBS coach with the current best win percentage in the league, Brian Kelly. Is he Cajun?
No.
No, absolutely not. He is not Cajun. Decidedly not. We have decided, and that is our game today. Are you feeling in the mood to talk about football against LSU now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Let's get into the newsy stuff.
Thank you. God, save me from my podcast partner. Okay.
Injury report. Let's talk about injuries.
You can't just act like the last 5 minutes didn't happen.
I don't know what you
and then
mean.
We're just going to restart the podcast.
That was the point of it, though, to get you in the mood. Are you not in the mood?
Yes, I am
Are
fully
you not horny for
prepared.
football?
Yes. Injury reports. A.D. Mitchell might play wide receiver for UGA, probably UGA's most consistent wide receiving threat coming into the year. He's probably not going to be 100% if he did play. My understanding is that he warmed up and dressed out for the Georgia Tech game, but did not play. Zion Logue and Dejon Edwards have undisclosed injuries. Haven't heard any updates on those yet. They both looked like they were walking on their own power after injuries they received against Georgia Tech. Dejon Edwards in particular I think would be a blow because he's been very consistent throughout the year.
Yep.
For LSU, there are various and sundry injuries, but the number one you need to know is Josh Williams. He didn't play against A&M. Hold on, I got to burp again.
Oh, boy.
See, that one was real. There was doubt as to whether or not the last one was real. I didn't suppress it. Anyway, Josh Williams didn't play against A&M. He's their most prolific running back. He's also a really good story. He was like their Stetson Bennett. He's like a former walk-on player. He has been incredibly effective this year, and he was out with an injury. So his availability for next week will be a thing to watch going forward.
A game time decision. Mm-hmm. As they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to get to know LSU?
Get to know him a little bit, yeah. Tell
Yeah.
me about some players to watch. They have a beautiful boy at quarterback. His name's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Tell me the numbers. Paint me a picture.
So Jaden Daniels, who I believe is a transfer from Arizona State, I want to say, he is sort of the engine that makes this team go offensively. He's 238 for 347, 2,566 yards. He has a 68.6 completion percentage, 7.4 yards per attempt, 7.0 air yards per attempt, which is very good. He's been throwing the ball consistently, prolifically. He has 15 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions on the year. He's also a real threat with his legs. He is a true dual threat quarterback. He actually can throw and run. He has 174 rushing attempts on the year for 824 yards, which is an average of 4.7 yards per rush. He also has 11 rushing touchdowns. He is the spark plug that runs this whole offense. They do have several other very significant offensive threats, but really Jaden Daniels is the beginning and end of it. His ability to extend plays and give them +1 in their blocking schemes when they run is kind of like the organizational foundation of the offense. And it's also something that historically Brian Kelly teams, even if you go all the way back to his days at Cincinnati and even before that at Grand Valley State, Brian Kelly teams that have a functional dual threat quarterback are more successful by like several percentage points at using most of the advanced metrics. Their running threats outside of Jaden Daniels, John Emery and Noah Kane are two highly rated running backs. They both have been very effective on the year. They are both bigger guys. In particular, John Emery is like a big old tank of a man. They were both guys that were 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school. They were both heavily recruited by UG as well. Kayshawn Booty, which is so good.
Great name.
Is a great name. He's a big wide receiver threat. He's by far their most athletic and fastest pass catcher. He's 6 feet, 190 pounds. He has 42 receptions in the year for 434 yards, 10.3 yards per average, but he only has 1 touchdown. Also, I think it's funny that everyone thought his name was Boutte until he said his name Booty out loud this year. There's no football insight on that. I just think it was funny.
No further analysis.
Yeah,
no
and
notes.
then there was all this like ESPN talk about, oh, his name's actually Booty. Like they were afraid to say his name is Booty because like that's funny. Anyway, maybe their most explosive threat is Dre Jenkins. He only has 24 receptions in the year for 332 yards, but he's averaging 13.8 yards per catch, and he has 5 touchdowns. He is their big threat down the sideline, 6'4", 194 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if Dre Jenkins is someone who is targeted on Keely Ringo going into the weekend. On defense, the 2 big players to watch are 3 are B.J. Ojolari, who is Aziz Ojolari, former UGA standout's little brother. He went to Oconee County, I think. He is an outside linebacker, 7.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks today. He has 1 pass defense and a forced fumble. He has been kind of outstripped by a freshman. 5-star Harold Perkins has come in this year and had like a truly stupendous season. 7.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 1 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, I think 3 passes defense as like a 260-pound outside linebacker. Harold Perkins is the truth. He is a true first-round draft pick. He is going to be the guy that a lot of our offensive game plan revolves around. He also will absolutely sack your ass into the turf, and I pray for Stetson Bennett.
And his ass.
And his ass, yeah.
That's America's ass.
That's
this week.
no.
That's Brock Bowers. My bad.
Brock Bowers is America's ass.
Sorry. Not to mix it up.
Yeah, come on. Their most prolific tackler of the year and the sort of QB of their defense is Micah Baskerville, which is a great name.
Yes.
LSU is traditionally like an all-name team, and Micah Baskerville is like so good.
I was just going through the roster, I'll say, just to interrupt you for a moment, and there's not as many. This is how you know this team has gotten away from its roots. There are not as many traditionally
unpronounceable Cajun names.
I see one single EAUX in here, and I'm upset.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy named T-Bob Abear who played.
Yeah.
His given first name was T-Bob.
T-Bob.
That's so good.
They do have an Aristotle Abraham II, meaning somebody thought that name was so good they did it twice, and I love that energy.
Well, and where's he from? Go back.
He's from Mansfield, Texas, which
Okay, yeah.
that's the land of good names.
Yeah,
Mansfield.
Aristotle Abraham. Jesus. All right. Let's see. Defensively, they run a lot more zone than man. They have 2 very good pass rushers, and their corners are big, but they don't have like a honey badger. They don't have a first-round draft pick at the cornerback spot. They really rely on getting pressure out of 4 and 5 or 3 and 4 man fronts, of rushing 3 and 4. They were very multiple. They're not really a 3-4 team or a 4-3 team. Matt House is their defensive coordinator who came over from the NFL. He was at the Chiefs for a while. It doesn't matter. But he sort of has a reputation as running a lot of like multiple formations. He'll have multiple people standing up at the line of scrimmage. He tends to be a relatively aggressive blitzer throughout his career. He has not been as aggressive this year because he's got this guy who is just like an absolute stud who can rush the quarterback on his own. Offensively, Kelly has a reputation as being like an offensive guru. I don't really think that bears out if you actually look at the stats, but he's certainly a good offensive coach. He has a reputation throughout his career, Brian Kelly does, other than having bad accents, of being sort of a high-paced coach. He was one of the first guys at Cincinnati who ran the up-tempo offense. Grand Valley State, He was a derivative off of Hal Mummy's tree, which is also Mike Leaf's tree, and then he was like kind of did his own thing with Chip Kelly at Grand Valley State. He was at Grand Valley State after Chip Kelly, and then he was at Cincinnati, and then he was at Notre Dame, and now he's at LSU. And traditionally, he's a guy who runs like 80, 90 plays a game. Interestingly, this year, they've only run about 72 plays a game, which is good for 29th in the nation. By comparison, UGA has run 71 plays a game. So this is not Tennessee in terms of a team that's just going to absolutely light it up in terms of plays run. They have been an effective offense on the year. They sort of run through Jaden Daniels fully. Kelly is known as a guy who's very comfortable running multiple personnel groupings out of the shotgun set. He will run like 12 personnel, 11 personnel, even 13 personnel out of the shotgun. And and a lot of their offense revolves around the fact that Jaden Daniels can often be +1 in the running game. When we say that, what we mean is like, if you have 5 offensive linemen and 5 defenders in front of them, and then a running back, and you hand it to the running back, then there's just 5 and 5, right? But if the quarterback runs, then you have +1 because now the running back can block as well. So you have 6 guys on 5 guys, right? So that's what it means to be +1. And a lot of their offense is sort of like rotates around Jaden Daniels' ability to get easy yards. If you run zone against this guy, he will absolutely just eat you up in terms of these like quick chunk runs. I expect to see a lot of Smile London as a spy on Jaden Daniels because traditionally you would have someone.
Munden.
Yes, also very good.
No,
Also
Spile
very-
Munden. I just
Smile.
want to make sure it's Spile.
No, Smile.
He's in the spy, though.
No, Smile. God damn.
Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, I totally
I've
lost
thrown
my.
you off.
Yeah, I expect to see Smile Munden spying, Smile Munden, again, a great name, spying Jaden Daniels a lot. He is a better runner than anyone else we've played. I would say even probably than Anthony Richardson at Florida. Anthony Richardson is probably like a bigger athlete than Jaden Daniels is, but he can't threaten you with his arm the way Jaden can. Jaden Daniels is truly like a modern 2022 quarterback in terms of his ability to move the pocket and, throw accurately from different arm angles. He is sort of like a taller, skinnier Patrick Mahomes guy. This is a team offensively that we've seen has had problems, actually both offensively and defensively. We've seen that has problems with really physical play. Watching the Texas A&M game last night, I was kind of struck by that game was sort of won and lost, not just from turnovers, which Jaden Daniels had a very poorly timed fumble on a snap exchange, but also on Texas A&M's ability to just like what I think some football coaches might colloquially call smash ass. And I would expect that even though it will give me maybe a pulmonary embolism, that we will see sort of a similar style of football out of Georgia to some extent, offensively and defensively. I think this is a team that is very talented and has had an infusion of really good talent through the transfer portal under Brian Kelly, but I do not think that they have the depth that Georgia does.
Yeah.
I just take a breath. All right.
You did great.
Thank
That was
you.
beautiful. Thank you.
I
So,
believed in me.
to review everything then, and also to bring in sort of the things we want to fix, we're kind of bringing it all together. We're making a big old pot of gumbo. This is the one pot gumbo we're making. What are some things we
Oh
want?
my God.
What are some things we might want to see that would indicate things are going well for us next Saturday? First, offensively. Offensive side of the ball, what does Georgia need to do that we see on the screen or in person if you're so lucky as to go, and we go, oh,
I think that
We're
getting
all
the door
right.
price is only $230 after them losing to TMU, which is
Yeah.
super cheap. So if you got the money,
comparatively speaking.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for an SEC championship, $230
That's
is
cheap.
good. Yeah. Offensively, I would say finishing drives. This is a game where Jaden Daniels and Keishawn Booty can and will score points on you, and you cannot settle for field goals in this game. That's always true, and it's sort of like a cliche to say it, but you have to score 6, especially when you get inside of the 40 and the 20. In particular, if we get inside of LSU's 40, we need to come away with 6.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Red
if
zone
we
woes.
if we are good in the red zone, we are probably going to win this game running away. I would say that I would probably predict us to win anyway, but that would be the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also that we see good Stetson Bennett. If Stetson Bennett walks out there and looks like he just got dumped by some sorority girl, like we're in trouble.
Isn't that-
But if he
I don't
walks
know.
out there and looks like he just got propositioned by some sorority girl, we're going to be in good shape.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
What about defensively? What are we looking for defensively?
You gotta keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket. Like if Jaden Daniels is getting 5 and 6 yards a scamper and he's doing it a lot, like we're screwed. I would say this is not a game where you necessarily have to sack Jaden Daniels, but it is a game where you have to play good contain and you have to set the edge against the run. This is a game where I hate to say hit because he's a Carrollton alum, but and I love Go Trojans or whatever. But Chaz Chambliss has got to have a good game, or he shouldn't be playing because he hasn't really shown the ability to set the edge against the run, and this is a team that will go at him.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech went at him, and that's embarrassing when Georgia Tech goes after you.
Mm-hmm. I want to say also that football would be a very different game if instead of rushes, we called them scampers. I just want you to know.
Yeah,
so,
no, let's take the toxic masculinity out of football.
Let's call them scampers.
Yeah.
If we scampered everywhere, it'd be much better. Jaden Daniels, 12 scampers on the day.
What if
okay.
we called passes like flicks or like tosses?
Heaves.
No, that's too manly.
You're right. That's fine. Okay. Predictions for the game then. Georgia is favored by 16.5 points. The over-under for this game is 50.5. Where do you kind of foresee this game finishing out then?
So I think this is a game that UJ is going to win. I think this is a game that LSU is talented enough, and at this point, they're just basically playing to ruin our season.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect them to come out motivated, but I do think you're going to see the best version of UGA. I think the best version of UGA beats pretty much everybody in the nation at this point. But I do think that at this point, Kirby Smart knows, and Todd Monken knows, and all the offensive coaches know, and even the drunk, problematic frat guy in the stadium knows that UGA does not block well when they run in power situations. So I think we are going to have to, and I think we will see a little bit more offensive creativity out of UGA. I think LSU's defense is talented, but from top to bottom, they are not as consistent as deep as UGA's are, and even matching up against UGA's offense. I actually think that Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers are going to have big games. Shocking, I know, but I don't think that LSU's linebacker and safety core is going to match up very well, including Major Burns, a former UGA player, is their starting safety. So I think this is going to be something like UGA 41, LSU 24 or something like that.
Okay.
I'll say 27 because I don't actually see this as a game where we cover.
Okay. That's fine. I'll take it. I think you're right. I think this is a game that it seems like whenever we have the most trouble with teams that we shouldn't have any trouble beating. And of course, LSU is going to show up just to sort of prove a point because they do not, at this point, I feel, have a whole lot of, they could have some playoff hopes. They might sneak their way into the playoff, but probably not. There's very few scenarios, I think, in which that would happen at this point. And so they're going to show up and they're going to give us sort of a run for our money in some ways. They're going to get some points on the board, but I think that we're going to open back up the playbook a little bit, but we're still going to hide enough things to where we have some more season ahead of us is kind of the idea. So it's going to look a little bit different than Georgia Tech. It's going to look a little bit different than the other sort of scrimmage matches that people have been calling, like the Kent States and things like that. But I do think that it's going to be a game that we kind of come away with a good win. Hopefully we don't have any big mistakes, big turnovers like we've seen in previous games. And so I would give you a UGA 38 and an LSU 17. That's fine with me. I like it. Not too bad. So yeah, that's not bad. I like that. Predicting a UGA win.
Yeah, I think we're going to win this game. I suspect there's going to be at least 2 moments where I pull out my hair.
Yeah, for sure.
And say something unfortunate in front of people I shouldn't say it again in front of.
People who write a paycheck for you.
I'm going to yell, "What's a kilometer?" at least once. So let's go to everybody's favorite segment, including mine.
Absolutely.
We're going to do Ask CBC. We have some questions that have been submitted. This is Ask CBC, sponsored but not sponsored by Cheerwine, the wine what gives you diabetes. TM. So they do not sponsor us. Please don't sue us, Cheerwine.
No, they sponsor us. It's true.
No,
Just
it's not.
Cheerwine and
Please don't.
Pepto-Bismol. Those are our 2 biggest sponsors.
I would really don't want to get sued by these.
Huge sponsors, just
Right.
backing up the truck.
I'd be really embarrassed to get sued by a third-rate soda company.
I would love to be sued by Pepto-Bismol, just let me say right now.
Just ask some questions.
Okay. The very first question comes from Christy in London. What is this question? How would each of you compare the food in the different places you've lived?
That's a weird question.
That is a weird question. I've lived in Athens. At this point, I would call it my hometown. I'm from the East Atlanta area. Atlanta really, we got chicken and waffles. You know how it is. Gladys Knights, and also now Ludacris himself has started putting out chicken and waffles. But we've just really mostly lived in Georgia. So
Yeah, I lived in Georgia. I live in Carrollton, which has very good food, and Athens, which I think has good food. My wife and I lived in Tennessee for 2 years, which has, I would say, like very high variance food. The food is either really good in
variance
Tennessee, in Knoxville, or it's like suburban Atlanta hell, but without any of the culture, right? Knoxville is at times. It's like, what can we eat today? Well, we can go to the depressing Applebee's, or we can go to Cracker Barrel and watch white people yell at their servers. So I don't miss that part of living in Knoxville in particular. We did see a couple at a Cracker Barrel in Knoxville one time, and they went there on Valentine's Day. We were in a bad place because we were there for Valentine's Day, and they
Tennessee is the bad place.
Yeah. So they had to eat they had to wait 10 minutes to get their order, and it was not that long they were waiting. And then the guy comes back, their server comes back with their drinks, and he just says, "Oh, the man just says, oh, we'll just pay for our drinks and leave." And the guy was like, "Well, I can take your order right now." And he's like, "No, we'll pay for our drinks and leave." And this guy had this he thought he was like frickin' William Wallace, like he was making some big ethical stand. And then he left, and then my wife and I were like, "Man, things have gotten bad when we're going to Cracker Barrel for Valentine's Day." Anyway.
Maybe we should move back to Georgia.
Yeah, and then 6 months later we lived in Athens.
Yeah. Started making the moves. Another question from Christy in London. What's on the top of your mind for the days between the SEC championship game and the CFP semifinal? That's a little bit ahead, but what would be on your mind?
I really hope the number one thing is I want us to get the number one overall seed, because I would really rather play in Atlanta than Arizona. There's some Redcoats here. Going to Arizona for a 3-day trip would be miserable, and then we'd have to come back, and then 6 days later. You know what I heard? If we go to Arizona, we're gonna have to actually ship all of our instruments from Arizona to LA if we win. Which means in the time in between the two games, we wouldn't be able to practice. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
Don't look excited about that.
Unless you guys went to LA and just stayed there. That makes a lot more sense, right?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Fit the bill. Next question comes from the OG Ryan. Which is Dan Orlovsky worse at? So commenting or quarterbacking? This is in reference to the Georgia Tech broadcast. And a little note about Dan, he only went to one bowl in college at UConn and never had a better than 58% completion percentage.
So he's somehow worse at playing quarterback than he was. He's better at commenting than he was at playing quarterback. And he's bad at commentating. It's really embarrassing to be the best quarterback in the history of UConn football.
Embarrassing to be Dan
on
national TV. Next question comes from Rand. Why is this the craziest football season since 2007? Do you think this is the impact of the NIL we can expect to see going forward, or is this an aberration?
Well, I think the free transfer market and the ability for teams to get good quick has led to more parity. But the when you have any competitive system with more parity, also leads to higher variance, right? So we've seen a lot of high variance outcomes this year, and I think that's because there's hopefully, and this will continue, I think it will, there's a more even distribution of talent. Even though you have 2 or 3 programs at the top that have by far and away the most talent, the distribution of talent throughout the rest of college football has become a lot flatter. You have places like LSU that have had these 1-year turnarounds. Even at the lower levels of the group of 5, you have teams like South Alabama, Troy, who have had these first-year turnarounds where they go from winning 2 games to 10 games. USC is a really good example of this as well at the higher level, probably in line for a playoff berth after being an 8-win team last year because of the transfer market. I expect that we'll continue to see this level of instability. I do think that probably the results from this game were my experience in public education, and I hate saying stuff like that. How do I say this? When at my job where I work, I've noticed that there's a lot of impact from people basically missing 2 years of school due to COVID, and I think we're still seeing some of that. And in terms of variance, talent, ultimately in college football, the more talented team wins 70 to 80% of the time. And I think we're seeing a lower distribution of talent coming out on top because they're just there are 2 classes of guys who basically missed a year and a half worth of football and are therefore a year and a half behind in their development. I think that's impacted education, but also is currently impacting athletics as well.
I have a question here from B. Belding. What is the record for consecutive number of angel tags played? And I guess the better question is do you know when angel tag started being used as sort of we did it? And
so angel tag started in the late 90s.
Okay.
And like a lot of things the Red Coats did, I think it was something they played for a show and then they added in and they just started playing it. And I looked at our records and stuff. I actually think currently we're at the record, which is 14. Because if you count like Orange Bowl, the national championship, and then these 12 games have all had an Angel tag. So we're currently at 14, and I think that's the record for consecutive.
Makes sense. And the next question I actually have is going to segue us, I think, into our final segment of the show. We're going to bring up fan favorite and mine and Nathan's favorite, Yara, themselves, to come ask this question. So, Yara, come on up. Come do it. Come do the thing.
Yara.
So if you've heard our show before, you know that Yara has a segment that we have added called Yara's Rage. And today is Yara's Live Rage. Yara has a question for us in our Ask CBC segment that has to do about the CFP ranking predictions. And then I have no idea what Yara is about to do, so this should be a good time. But would you like to ask the kind people what your question is, Yara? Or introduce yourself first.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Yara. I am the Chapel Bell Curve social media intern. I'm also a student at UGA. I don't know what else I should say.
Token Gen Z.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm Gen Z. I don't know. I guess that's my personality trait when I come on here, and it's fun. So my question is, what are y'all's college football playoff ranking predictions for next week? Because I've seen a lot of people rank Michigan above us, and I don't know if I agree with that, but I wanted the professionals' opinions on this.
Please don't. Please don't call us professionals.
Industry experts.
No, please stop. I need everyone to stop saying that I'm good at anything immediately.
It embarrasses him.
What do you think?
I saw some people talking about this too. Michigan had a very strong showing yesterday. I don't know if that is a strong enough showing to put them at number one. But then again, we did see like weirder stuff happen this season with Tennessee hopping up to number one. But there's a chance. I mean, we could see it happen. I'm not looking at Michigan's schedule for the year,
I doubt
but
it. Michigan has 2 wins over teams in the top 25 of last week's college football playoff rankings, and Georgia has 4. Also, the college football playoff committee generally has a very strong incumbency bias, and while they often can like fall prey to like the recency fallacy of like counting more on the latest results, because that's just like a very human thing to do, I doubt that would overcome the incumbency bias. And also, I would say that like inarguably, UGA has had a stronger schedule this year. Michigan's 2 out-of-conference games were, I believe, UMass and Hawaii, which are 2 of the worst teams in college football by like a pretty good margin. So I would be kind of shocked if Michigan was number 1.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
looking at their strength of schedule, Georgia is now 5th for strength of schedule, and then Michigan is 8th. And this does adjust throughout the year based on how other teams are doing and how the previous teams you played did in the season. And so it gives you like a high and a low for each team. And Georgia's highest point this season for their strength of schedule was 3. Their lowest was 18th. Michigan's was 5 was their highest, and their lowest was 100. And so that's a pretty big variance, I would say, as far as strength of schedule goes. And so, yeah, I would say that Georgia probably stays there. Michigan comes number 2. We're going to see TCU, and we're going to see probably USC, right?
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
Maybe LSU. Maybe
And
LSU
then maybe
go up.
USC.
No, I'm sorry. They just lost. No, they won't.
Yeah, USC is probably going to be at 4. It
Yeah.
depends on the degree to which Ohio State gets penalized for their loss.
I could see them still staying in the top 4. Definitely.
All right,
So-
Yara, are you ready to rage?
Yeah, what are you going to do,
Yeah.
Yara?
I guess we're gonna party. Well, we're going to talk about some fun little things that I've thought of or that I've conjured in the past week. First, we're going to start with SEC teams as songs in my pregame playlist.
Yes.
This is like the most ADHD segment ever. It's
Okay.
insane. Okay.
Tell us about your pregame playlist. What is it? What is the purpose? Can people find it on Spotify?
You can find it on Apple Music. I'm sorry, I got a 6-month free trial and I'm trying to take advantage of it.
I understand.
But I'll put it on Spotify. My pregame playlist is for me to realistically enjoy while I hypothetically consume beverages in preparation for hypothetically going downtown. It's fun.
Sure.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We've
just
all been
hanging
there.
out with friends.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Lemonade and
Lemonade.
ice cream, yeah.
Cheerwine.
Yes.
The mix.
Slushies.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, well, hit us with some teams and some games.
Okay.
Or
So first we
pregame
have
playlist.
Florida. Florida is Hotel Room Service by Pitbull. I just associate this song with Florida because this is a song that I played last year when I was driving the truck to Florida and we entered Miami.
Pitbull
It
is
was-
Miami personified as well.
Yeah.
Yes, precisely. LSU is swag surfing. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to justify this decision, but I don't think I have to. I just believe that LSU is, in fact, swag surfing
Is a vibe.
constantly. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I
I'm gonna
applied
pretend
there.
I know what all of this means.
Do you
doing a
not
great
know
job.
what the song
I know
swag?
I know what the song swag surfing.
Do you know what swag surfing is? Could you do it here if we asked you?
No, I could,
Yeah,
but I
we could,
won't.
we could swag surf.
No.
here,
We
I
could
think.
swag surf.
Go to the next team.
What's Auburn?
Auburn is fergalicious.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That one I do know.
That one
you
I
can,
get.
You can listen to it exactly one time per night, and otherwise it gets annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my take. You can play Auburn one time, and then they get annoying. Vanderbilt is Toxic by Britney Spears because it's underrated and it's kind of nerdy, but everybody kind of loves them. They're like the little brother of the SEC.
Is just
So-
Vanderbilt kind of nerdy or is Toxic kind of nerdy? I've never considered Toxic to be, that's kind of nerdy.
Yeah. Like,
No, it's like Vanderbilt's like alter ego. Like,
Sure.
you know how all the nerds
okay.
have like alter egos
so
that
it's
are
like
fun.
when the nerdy girl like puts her hair up and puts on makeup,
Yes.
and
like,
then, and then it's pretty. It's like,
So
oh,
edgy.
she was pretty the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it. Okay.
Every teen movie ever. Missouri is Umbrella by Rihanna.
Okay.
I believe that the vibes match. I can't elaborate on this one.
I'm gonna
Okay.
need more,
I don't
but
know how
understand.
to elaborate on any of these decisions. Texas A&M is Pursuit of Happiness. Again, I don't know how to explain this one. I just kind of I shuffled my pregame playlist like throughout the week, and I was like, oh,
Isn't Pursuit
This-
Happiness about like trying to be happy in the face of mental illness? Because that does fit.
That
Texas
does, that
A&M.
fits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Tennessee is Wasted, and because it's fun for a minute, and then it gets really annoying
Who's that
and
by?
repetitive. You don't know the song Wasted?
No, I don't know the song. I don't know half of these songs.
I'm like dating Yara.
I didn't know that you guys were that old.
Don't play it.
No, we don't want to get a copyright strike. Who's it by?
Oh, let me check. I just kind of listen.
But it makes sense that it's fun for a minute and it gets annoying and repetitive. It's
Yeah,
a big,
no, it's-
big rocky top. I get it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Wasted is by, I'm looking. It's by Tiesto. It's featuring Matthew
Oh.
Coma.
DJ Tiesto.
Okay.
Yes. Where am I? UGA is No Hands.
Yeah. I do know that song. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're going somewhere. I just believe this is correct. My favorite part of No Hands is the part where Roscoe starts, and it makes me so happy. It just makes me feral. And likewise, UGA makes me happy and makes me feral.
Absolutely feral.
Good.
Yes.
Don't ask questions. You don't
Goblin
want to
mode.
know what that means.
Ole Miss is Mobama.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
that
I just-
totally fits. Yeah.
Yes. Every time I learn something about both Old Miss and every time I hear Mobama, it is against my will. So, Kentucky is Low Places. I got friends.
Like
I wrote that
like
in there.
The Garth Brooks
Yeah.
song.
I was me. I did that. That was a song I know.
Yeah. No. That. Yeah, I get that one.
Mississippi State is Stir Fry or Fight Night, both by the Migos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe both. They're both chronically underrated, and I think they deserve better. I just like them. Bama is Bonfire by
Oh,
Childish
yeah.
Gambino.
That makes
because
sense.
The sorority girls go feral for that song every
Yeah.
single time it comes
She's
on.
like, I love rap music, and it's
Yeah.
Childish
Yes.
Gambino.
Yes,
but
every
only
time, yeah.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Arkansas is Red Solo Cup. I really, I really like that song. It makes me so happy. It's very country, it's very silly, but it's still a banger. And I can't locate Arkansas on a map, so that's like, it's, so it fits.
It checks
okay?
out, yeah.
And finally, South Carolina is Sandstorm. It
Okay,
Yeah,
just-
that
that's
one-
good.
Yes.
But hold on, I need to pause. Does that mean that on your pre-game drinking playlist, you have Darude Sandstorm from like 1998?
No, I put that on there as
Yeah.
well.
Okay, okay, good.
It was
Good.
my
No.
own contribution.
Should I add it? Is that?
You probably should.
Yeah, no, it's a banger.
Have you ever listened to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's not bad.
It's so good.
Upsettingly enough.
Next, we're going to segue into what side of TikTok is
Oh,
each
Lord.
SEC head coach on.
Okay.
I've decided that since I don't know what the target audience here, and I don't
Oh
know
my
if
God.
y'all are on TikTok,
There's a whole slideshow.
I've provided some screenshots for your entertainment.
This is outstanding.
Oh no. Okay.
Doing
so,
great.
Do you want to turn it here?
I can just do this.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I
Got
gotta
one of
read the
them-
notes on my
one of them flip
phone.
computers. So yeah, those of you that might not be aware, TikTok, when you refer to different parts of TikTok, you take away the tick and you add the thing that is part of. For
Yes.
instance, book talk, astrology talk, Christian talk, things like these things, you know.
Tattooed goth girls talk.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god.
Hypothetically
Goth
familiar.
girlfriend talk.
Oh,
yeah, you
goth
gotta-
girl
yeah.
talk. Oh
Thirst
my
talk.
god. Oh.
Then there's like lumberjack talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get on TikTok, y'all, if you're not on there. It's a terrible waste of
Yeah,
time,
it'll
and I
figure
love
out
it.
So
what
much
makes
fun.
you horny. That's what it does.
That's for sure. That's
you-
their tagline, in fact.
When you get on TikTok, follow us at Chapel Bell Curve.
Oh, wow, we have a TikTok.
Yeah, we do. It's on our link tree along with our Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you too can subscribe and join a community of awesome people.
She's so good at this.
That's so
www.patreon.com/chapelbellcurve. Yay. Okay. So
Doing the
first
job.
we have Billy Napier from Florida. I believe that Billy Napier is on Astrology Talk. Astrology Talk, it just describes like where you are depending on when you were born. And I think that Billy Napier is big on astrology.
Big on astrology.
That's my belief.
You gotta be in Florida. You gotta have a thing in Florida to get by, I think. Like, you gotta have a character trait that is,
Yeah.
sort of toxic, but
Yeah. Like it could be an MLM. It could be a
It could
pyramid
be.
scheme.
Yes. Okay. Next we I have never felt as young as I do right now.
you're doing great.
Thanks. Okay. Next we are on Brian
Brian
Kelly
Kelly.
from LSU. I'm doing these in alphabetical order of name. This is the side of TikTok that has a scene from Family Guy or Young Sheldon, or like a reading of a Reddit post with like "Am I the asshole?" on it, and it's on like the top part of the screen, and somebody is playing various video games on the bottom part of the screen.
This is so niche.
It.
That's
That's
a
Brian
really
Kelly.
deep
He's a
burn.
Are you
Very
guys not
acquired
on
taste.
this side of TikTok?
No, I am.
Hold
No.
on.
I am. Yeah, it's fine. I got it.
I think I've figured out the. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I think I've figured out what this segment really is. It's let Yara take the millennials to school.
Yes.
I've never felt more old.
I've never felt so young. Please continue.
It's so much fun. And as somebody with chronic ADHD, I can focus on the game and the Family Guy that's like absolutely in violation of various copyright laws at the same time. It's so nice.
I like referring to ADHD as chronic ADHD,
Yes.
as if it goes away at some time. You know,
Yeah,
Like, no, that's here to stay.
Relapsing, remitting ADHD.
Yes.
Yeah. You've got Auburn next.
Next
Cadillac
we have
Williams.
Cadillac Williams. Cadillac Williams is on Christian Talk.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Apparently,
No,
he converted 12 players to give their life to Christ, which is like
bodies.
cool and all. And so I think he's on Christian Talk. Specifically, he's seen this TikTok that's like infamous. It's like Jesus is the only one that can satisfy.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody just like claps so hard and so much. And
Yeah.
I think that's where he's
so
at.
hard, so much.
Okay.
The next one you've got here is Vanderbilt.
Yes,
the weird
Vanderbilt's
political side
on
of TikTok.
political TikTok. Specifically, political moments that changed my life or like reshaped my thinking.
Are
I
you saying
think
you, like my life, like your life, or the
just
the
the title?
the general
like the
you,
title
me?
of the TikTok.
Okay,
Okay.
making sure.
Yeah, they make a slideshow presentation with different political moments in life that changed their brain chemistry.
This is a reference to earlier, the Four Seasons
the best thing
landscaping
that ever
conference.
happened, yeah.
The funniest thing that's ever happened
That was
in the history
insane.
of anything, truly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I own the T-shirt from that landscaping company now.
Next we have
Josh Heupel? No.
no.
Eli Drinkwitz from
Eli
Missouri.
Eli Drinkwitz.
What's he up to?
He's on College Talk. I don't think he ever grew out of his like college days. I think he's still active in his fraternity like group me, even like the alumni group me, even though he is very old. And
Isn't he like 40?
that's very old.
Eli Drinkwitz, the kind of guy that comes back
God.
for
Damn it.
for Parents Weekend. Talks about all the places he used to go to.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I got it.
That old ass 40-year-old.
Oh, Jesus on the cross.
Jim, tell us about Jimbo Fisher.
Okay. Jimbo
This is-
Fisher is on Doubloon Talk.
Okay.
Doubloon-
You were talking about doubloons earlier, and I need to know what they are in reference to TikTok.
TikTok has made their own currency.
Of course
and
they
it's
have.
not like an NFT, which is like lame and dumb. I don't like NFTs.
Okay.
This currency is doubloons, and you'll just come across
That's already a
TikToks that give you
currency.
doubloons, and you can buy various things on TikTok with those doubloons. So far, I have a budget actually.
You have a budget?
I have a doubloon budget.
Have you
in my
budgeted your
notes.
real money?
No, just my doubloons.
Just your doubloons?
Okay.
So
Yara,
on the 23rd of November, I was granted 1,100 doubloons.
how many dollars is that?
I don't know. We haven't figured that part out yet. And then on
Okay.
the 25th, I spent 1,000 of those doubloons
On what?
On the FIA, which is like Formula One, like governing body.
Do you own the Formula One now?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay.
I
Okay.
own Lewis
I understand
Hamilton.
doubloons now.
Okay.
I love Lewis Hamilton so much, and now he works for me.
That's where Jimbo Fisher is.
Yes.
So Josh Heupel, you get to say this one out loud.
Josh Heupel is on weird millennial and boomer TikTok. I think this is where he is.
Okay.
He's like on this strange sense of humor, like very much still stuck in Vine, trying to make TikTok Vine, but it's not working. And it's just bad.
Joke's
I like
on
that
you,
your
Yara.
Example is like
TikTok
avocado
is
toast.
fine. We already got you. Checkmate.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Kirby
All right.
Smart. What's he up
Kirby
to?
Smart is on Fraternity Boy and Sorority Girl TikTok.
Okay.
I think this is just where he is.
Sure.
Similar to where I go earlier. Similar to Eli Drinkwitz, I think that he is active in his alumni fraternity group chat. I think that he goes to these events frequently as Kirby Smart, which is wild. And I don't know. I just feel like that's the vibe.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin, sorry, I'm
No,
going
I'm-
everywhere.
you're good,
Lane
I'm trying to help
Kiffin is
you out.
on the obscure meme slideshow TikTok. There are recently TikTok has introduced a slideshow presentation format where you can choose different pictures and make it a slideshow. And I think that he's on there, but the weird meme ones that are very niche and nobody understands them. I think that's where he's at. Based on his Twitter. His Twitter
He gets
is
the best. Yeah, he knows.
interesting.
He gets it.
Yes. Mark Stoops is on K-pop TikTok.
And why?
I don't know.
Just
That's
because he
just
loves K-pop.
That's the vibe.
That's the vibe.
We're
That's-
doing this all on vibes.
All vibes.
Yeah, this is exclusively vibes. I don't know anything. This is just what I think is correct.
Yara understands our brand.
Yeah.
Yes. Mike Leach is on conspiracy talk,
100%.
Yes.
SCP, conspiracy TikTok. Oh. Such as this.
Snoop Dogg is alive.
I don't know why this is a conspiracy because Snoop Dogg is in fact alive. But
That's
when
not
I looked
Snoop
up-
Dogg. That's Tupac. Yara.
What?
That's not Snoop Dogg.
It says Snoop Dogg up here.
I'm aware of what it
Yeah,
says.
but that's definitely Tupac.
Okay.
That's the conspiracy.
Well, I guess that's a conspiracy theory.
It's a conspiracy theory now. You have Nick Saban here, and you have a perfectly reasonable answer, but I also want to argue and just posit that Nick Saban is not on TikTok and has never heard of it. Most likely.
That's a valid explanation. I've run out of slides, so this is where the slideshow ends. Actually, I have one more, but it'll wait. Okay, Nick Saban, I think if he even is on TikTok, he's on Country Talk. Oh Lord. Nick Saban, please don't sue me if you listen to
Do
this.
it.
But I feel like you're on a really specific part of TikTok where they talk about how much women don't want to be with men who care and provide for the family and just want them to stay home, and women only want to be with men that are
That's Country Talk?
super skinny and have earrings. Yeah, that's Country Talk.
I was thinking Country Talk was the one, you know how they do line dance videos?
Well, that's also Country
Oh,
Talk.
that's
I
okay,
thought you
never
meant agricultural talk.
agricultural talk. That's
fair.
different. Farm talk.
Sam Pittman is on Jail Talk.
What is jail talk?
I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think he happens to be on there.
What is it?
Sometimes jail inmates will smuggle in phones as they go into jail, and then they'll make TikToks in jail, and it has this really shitty quality. There are 2 pixels on the screen, but you can see them dancing, and it's so wonderful. And the comments are filled with free my boy, he did nothing wrong. And I agree. free my boy. He did nothing wrong. All of them, every single inmate on Jail Talk.
Oh boy.
And finally, Shane Beamer from South Carolina is actually the side of TikTok that's thirsting over a ghost from the new Call of Duty game. There are so many video edits and erotic fan fiction that is written about this man.
Nice.
And I think that's where he's at.
Okay.
And that's my presentation, or that's one of my
That's
presentations.
that's not your only one.
You have a final thing you want to ask us?
Yeah, what
It
a
looks
great
like-
way to end our second live show with Yara's newest segment. What is this segment called?
Oh, God.
Help the millennials.
Okay. I present, is it going to load?
You have a final question here.
I do.
It's just a little bullet point, and you said,
Is he hot?
he hot?
Or am I just down bad? Do I just have a confidence kink? So recently, it's come to my awareness that some people think that I have really bad taste in men.
Oh my God.
And that's fine. I understand. So I figured I'd come here and ask people who I think know a lot about stuff, and you, the audience, whether I actually have really bad taste in men.
I think you can just.
So you have on here, can I read out your
Do
second
it.
screen here as you figure that out? Your second screen is how it works. 1, presentation.
Yes.
I show you an image of a football player. 2, contemplation. We discuss their merits and talents. 3, deliberation. We rate their attractiveness on a scale from 1 to 10. Finalization. We vote whether they're attractive or if they're just talented.
Yes. Okay. When we vote, we're just gonna do like a little thumbs up or thumbs down in the audience.
A classic audience
Yes.
participation.
Let's go audience participation.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1, a classic. Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia. All right. So we're gonna start with contemplation.
We discuss their merits and talents.
Yes.
Nathan, what are his merits and talents?
I mean, like sexually or?
No.
Go on.
What you mean by that?
Well, he's, Brock Bowers is a physical unicorn. He's like the size of a tight end. He has serious wide receiver skills. He's arguably the most talented tight end to ever play. If not, he's in the top 5. He has
Man.
insane ball skills. LOL.
A great and relevant answer. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty much like a surefire NFL draft pick
Yeah.
at this point, barring injuries.
He came and volunteered in my Books or Keeps warehouse once, and it was right after his surgery, so he had one arm that was just like attached to his body, and the other arm, he just kept sorting books, so certainly competent in there,
Yeah, and a good
That's a
person.
merit.
Yeah, he donates his time.
Donated his time, had a great time.
A charitable man.
A charitable
green-
man.
Green flag. All right, deliberation. How do we rate this man on a scale of 1 to 10, gentlemen?
Damn.
Well,
Objectify this boy.
So here's something I've noticed is, and this might not be a deal breaker, but he has sort of like a really high hairline, even in his 20s, which is fine. It's fine, Dad. I'm sorry. It's fine. And he has a billboard on Macon Highway for like some law firm.
He sure
And
does.
he's like very obviously wearing a black plain hat because he was like, I don't want anyone to read me from my
Aw.
receding hairline, which is fine. I don't know if that affects what we think about him.
Doesn't.
He's obviously in super good shape. He's a generous person. He seems like he'd be like a thoughtful lover to me. That's just like a vibes thing. I don't know.
This is
that
the kind of
to
stuff
be
that I
fair.
never get to hear people respond to when it's just me and you talking about it, so this is pretty great.
Yeah, I just feel like he'd really put in the work. You know
He
what
put
I
in
mean?
the
He'd
work.
really care about
It's
the
probably
experience.
he's from
you know?
California as well. He's probably pretty progressive.
Yeah. That guy's had a tarot reading, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's-
He knows what Reiki is.
Yeah, for sure. Like, one of his ex-girlfriends definitely owned crystals. Like, and was
100%.
really
He
serious
might own
about
his
it.
own.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think,
He's up there.
yeah, he's like 7, 8. You know, I think if you take him as a full person, he does kind of look like someone who came out of the womb looking like he was 37.
He sure
but
does.
That's okay. I don't judge that.
Excellent. Okay.
I give him a 7 or 8. Yeah, that's
All
that's
right.
fine.
Finalization. Audience, thumbs up or thumbs down for Brock Bowers?
Brock Bowers.
All right, full
He's
go.
a babe.
Green
Y'all
flag.
all right for it?
Great.
Okay. All right. Next up, this is a new contender that
New
I
contender.
that
We
I
have not heard
followed
about
on
this one
Twitter
from you,
last
yeah.
night after his stellar performance against LSU. we have Moose Muhammad III. He is from Texas A&M. He is a wide receiver. He is a sophomore.
All right. His name's Moose Muhammad III. Next question.
Yeah.
Green
Yeah,
light.
and
Green
if
light, do
we're
it. Like,
if we're
there's no
observing
question.
rules from before, this is a name so good that they used it thrice.
Yeah, no. His dad and his granddad are both named
Moose.
by God Muhammad. What else is there to say? He's a Division I football player. His name's Moose Muhammad.
Stamp of approval.
Hey, that guy's tough as hell because he grew up with the name Moose Muhammad, right?
He went to middle school, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have a real personality because, again, his name is Moose Muhammad, so he didn't get anything handed to him in high school, no doubt. That
Absolutely
guy got
not.
bullied so much in middle school, and so it makes him more like a more fully rounded adult because
Yeah.
of his bullying experiences.
So are we just giving the green light
Yeah,
from
no,
the start?
full go.
Okay.
Yeah, you got
Full
it.
go. If you
Absolutely.
match with him on Tinder, like, do it.
Yeah.
I
No
don't know
question.
when
We're
I'm
here
ever
for
going to
it.
be within like a 10-mile, which is what I have my Tinder distance
Good
set
for you.
to,
Keep it small.
like radius of Moose Muhammad.
You're gonna have to go to College Station.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't want to go to College Station. Okay,
number
audience,
three?
Moose Muhammad, how do we feel?
Oh, full
Absolutely.
on.
Oh,
full
we're,
go.
You
we're
don't even need to
excited
see
about
him.
Moose Muhammad. We
He's
are
cute, though.
very excited. Okay, here we go. Next one, JJ McCarthy,
Okay.
quarterback, Michigan.
I think
So-
JJ McCarthy. All right, you go. Go.
I'm gonna pretend for all intents and purposes that I don't hate Michigan yet.
Fair.
When everything gets announced on Tuesday, like the CFP rankings and everything, and then maybe we face Michigan, then I'll hate Michigan. But right now he's chill. So that's my preface.
The vibes are fine still.
I think
Yes.
JJ McCarthy is like
He's
unequivocally an
adorable.
attractive human.
Look at him.
And his name's JJ, which is like
It's
a high
adorable.
variance name. I feel like JJ is either like that's a cool guy or it's like, oh God.
I'm less into McCarthy if we're just
Yeah,
going by,
no, that's not
judging the
great.
book by its cover.
Yeah, that's not great. You do worry about like, does he have someone in his past who's a senator from Wisconsin? What does he
Or-
think about communists? That was a McCarthyism.
That was a
joke.
good
That
joke.
was
That
a
was
deep
good.
cut. I don't know. He's playing the game. He likes the game he plays. He's smiling.
He looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
Loves
I
blue and
do-
yellow,
I
good
do
colors.
hate Michigan, so that is hard. But I would say, 8 or 9. Like, he's a good-looking guy. There's no doubt about it.
Wow. Okay.
He's got a very symmetrical face.
Traditionally
He
handsome.
has a nice smile.
Yeah.
He looks like an unproblematic Abercrombie and Fitch model. You know?
Looks like. Yeah.
Well, you don't know. I mean, he could be a horrible human.
You never
Yeah.
know.
I'll look him up on Instagram. How do we feel about JJ McCartney, friends?
all right, yeah.
We don't like JJ McCartney.
I'll give him
we
a
got,
McCarthy.
we got mixed
McCarthy.
opinions.
He's not Paul. He's like,
He's no Moose Muhammad.
yeah.
That's for sure.
All right. Now we got
We're getting into
This one,
is tough.
I don't.
we
You're
got
right,
Shane
dude.
Beamer from the Cox.
Gamecocks. All
This
right.
is a-
All right, make
Present
your
your
make
case.
your case, please.
This is now Shark Tank.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really sell me
Okay.
on this one.
One.
Okay.
I think he's hot in like a DILF way.
Oh my God.
I think he's hot in like, look at this picture. Look. I think he's hot in like a DILF way. Like in a DILF way.
Okay.
You keep saying
You
that
keep saying it like it means
like
something.
it's gonna land with me.
Is he? Is
No,
it
I
not
get, I
landing
get what
with
it
you?
means. I get what it means.
And
No, we know what it
also,
means.
he coaches cock football. That's so fucking cool.
Fair.
Did you know that their hockey team is called cock hockey? That's so fucking funny. I love
just
it.
be cocky.
Yeah.
I love cocky.
Did you know that they have like an area on their campus where they can tailgate, and it's a bunch of like old school train cars, and they're called the cockabooses.
Pretty great.
I'm taking a trip to the cockabooses. I want to
sure
see this in
I-
person.
I don't need to know that much about your weekend plans.
I think that my situation with this is that you've presented a lot of really great, I guess, cock adjacent facts,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I am still not sold on Shane Beamer himself.
Yeah. Can you give me some non-cock related arguments for Shane Beamer?
Okay.
Nope.
Well,
sure
South
can.
Carolina isn't doing awful this
They
Sure,
year.
did beat
Clemson.
Dabo Swinney yesterday.
They beat Dabo Swinney, which
and
is,
that's all that matters
That's a
to
win
me.
for humanity.
Yeah, good on you, Shane Beamer. You've turned me around. My arm is twisted. I've twisted my own arm, truly.
Hold on. Let me,
I think this picture he does kind of look like his kid just won like a t-ball tournament.
Yeah, if
And
his
I-
kid was 7 feet tall and could pick him up.
Yeah. No, it's like I'm so proud of you, son. My giant
My
10-year-old
giant
son.
boy.
Now here's something that I will bring up, and I don't want to take the shine off of old Shane here. He is a nepotism baby.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Is nepotism hot?
That is a good question.
No.
Okay, well you got to keep that in mind.
How nepotism are we talking?
Well, his dad is like the most famous, he's the most famous Virginia Tech coach in the history. Like Beamer
So-
Ball was a thing from the 90s.
So he has money.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, he has generational wealth.
You
for
get
sure.
it? You get
It
it?
depends on what your goals are.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Beamer ball.
Yara's big on Beamer Ball now.
I
Okay.
mean, in terms of like, if you were turned on by pit vipers,
This
I
is the
think
thing.
the answer is yes.
Of all the coaches that you could have put in this wasn't the one I would put in here. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's
We
a-
said
I think
beforehand,
he's a tra-
Marcus Freeman?
he's
If
no
you
Marcus
look at
Freeman.
him,
Dan Lanning?
He's no Dan Lanning.
Dan Lanning's fine. I wish I
Yeah.
thought about Dan Lanning before I.
You didn't need to
found-
ask us about Dan Lanning, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
exactly, exactly. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so these are
Audience,
your-
how do we feel about King Shane Beamer?
I feel,
Yeah!
I feel like this is one where you've already decided.
split the
you
group.
already know. You already know
You
your
didn't need
answer.
us.
Yeah.
I do. Okay. And
Oh my God.
finally,
You don't
I
need
have
to ask
one
us
that
about
I
this
know
one.
everybody here is gonna love.
Look at this beautiful.
There are so many.
Joe Burrow.
It's like a collage. Like you've opened your,
You
your
made a
closet
fan
for
edit
us,
of Joan Burrow.
and this is the door of your
Is
closet.
this what's crudely taped to your ceiling?
Yeah. You lay
Yes.
down at night and you.
Okay.
Adorable.
I actually have this on the wall right behind my desk. I don't.
I love
but-
that.
Okay. So
Yes.
make your Joe Burrow case.
Okay, Joe Burrow. One, took LSU and got the Natty and won a Heisman and did the Bengal thing and went to the Super Bowl in like his rookie-ish year, and that
Okay.
was pretty cool.
Okay.
2, he's hot. 3,
Okay.
he has NFL money.
He does have
Right.
NFL money.
Yeah,
now,
that's
true.
generational wealth. Yeah. You,
He's on his way.
even if you divorce him, he's
He's
still
from
gonna owe you that
Ohio,
money.
though. There's that.
No,
Oh.
but see, here's the thing. I think you could make an argument that he was from Ohio and he left.
He's
Now he did go back.
back in Ohio.
But he did leave, which is a bonus. Like leaving Ohio because you want to is a good thing.
But then he went back.
Yeah, he went back.
voluntarily.
No, but he got
semi-voluntarily.
drafted.
Okay, not
Could have said no. Can you say
How
no?
tall is he? Does it say old?
He's like 6'4".
6'4".
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you like dudes with like big, dumb, open faces shaped like refrigerator boxes, this is the man for you. He has sort of like a disarmingly stupid face. I will give that to him. Like I see him and I'm like, that guy's not smart enough to con me. And that makes me feel good. I feel comforted by that. Like
Have
that
you-
guy doesn't have the like wherewithal to steal my wallet.
Have you seen the video from his LSU days where he's smoking a cigar
yeah,
and
we-
Get the
oh, yeah.
Gat is playing in the background? Because I feel like that might seriously sway your opinion.
No,
That's
I have.
like-
no,
Okay.
I'm not against Joe Burrow. Like I like his swagger.
Okay.
I liked it when on his senior day he had like the Joe Burrow like BUREAUX on his.
I
Yeah, that was
appreciate
cool.
that like that video is to Yara as like the Mummy is to millennials everywhere. Like truly
Oh, was
a
that
sexual
where you were like,
awakening. Yeah.
well, I'm bisexual. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow made me bisexual.
Yeah, Brandon Fraser and oh gosh, what's her name? In The Mummy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. Everybody go watch The Mummy. It's better than you think it is.
And Joe
Right.
Burrow.
I don't know what
I'm full. I'm full go on Joe
I
Burrow.
don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what
let's
the
go.
Mummy
Yeah,
is.
you don't need everybody's
You
approval
don't know
here.
what The Mummy is?
No.
Oh
It's just
boy,
an action movie where everyone's hot.
we have a lot to talk about after
But
this.
it's not like just the main people are hot. It's like everybody. in
Every
the
single
movie is
person.
hot.
Are there mummies in it?
Oh yes.
Even the mummy's hot.
It's called
ultimately.
the Mummy.
How are the mummies hot?
Well, once he stops being a mummy and like recorporates into like his mortal form, he's hot.
Duh.
Oh.
All right.
Oh.
You gotta watch the Mummy.
I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. Joe Burrow.
Full go.
Yeah.
You've got yeah, you got it. You got that
you got
approval.
Joe Burrow, yeah.
You got Joe Burrow. All right.
All right. And now I have my thank you slide.
It's very important.
Does that say thank you for coming to my TED Talk?
Yes, it
yeah.
does.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to Yara's TED
I
Talk,
wanted
y'all.
to thank you all for coming to my TED Talk. And this concludes my live rage.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Excellent work.
Thank you for bringing us through all of that. Now that we're at the end of the show, though, I will say that one thing that we forgot to talk about last year was how do you end a live show? He's got it. He's
This
got
has
it.
been Chapel Bell Curve.
He's
You can
gonna
find
read
us
the
on
copy.
iTunes, Google Play. This is copy I wrote,
I
so
know,
I
go
can
for it.
read it because I wrote it. All right, can I go?
Yeah, go for it. Do it.
Thank you. This has been Chapel Bell Curve. I swear to God. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere you can subscribe to a podcast. You can get in touch with us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or TikTok, I guess, theoretically, by